America is ours. Our sweat and our blood built America. How dare you say that we have no place there?
How dare the white man tell us, well, if you don't like it, go back to Africa. Hell, what are you talking about?
I am more of a patriot than most of you who bow down to evil, and it is only truth that will make America better.
Why should we live like this?
Right.
When our fathers worked for 300 years to give America the wealth that she has.
That's right.
When we built the country, listen to me good now.
And the white people who enslaved us were not our teachers.
Speak up.
How then
did we build their mansions in the South?
How then did we design clothing for masses' daughters and masses' wives? Who taught us how to do the things that we did to make America what it is today? They were not our teachers.
We were born builders. We were born architects of civilization.
People are not afraid. The world has taken enough of America's evil. White folk have been made to believe that the history of civilization begins in Egypt and that Egypt was a white civilization. And that many whites have been made to believe that black folk were just in the jungles of Africa running around with no clothes on and never contributed anything to the advancement of civilization. I think if the proper education were given to black and white, we could come away with a healthy respect one for the other. But if white folk do not know what black people have contributed to the advancement of civilization, it leads to a disrespect of a whole segment of the population. And if they won't give it to us, we have the responsibility to give it to ourselves.
There is a story behind Louis Farrakhan's message that goes much deeper than politics, guys. If you listen carefully, you'll realize that he's not simply talking about black Americans. He's talking about wealth, power, leadership, history, and the question of who really controls the future. Those are important questions that we should also be asking ourselves. Otherwise, guys, I want us to watch out this video until the end and see some of the issues that Louis Farrakhan is raising. Otherwise, remember, you are going to buy me a coffee if you're going to click the subscription button. Let's watch this video, then I'll be back with my 2 cents.
If you've been here 400 years, if your leaders are trying to integrate you into America, you know that's not Moses. If your leaders are trying to help you to become Americanized, ain't got nothing to do with Moses or Jesus. If your leaders are promising you that this is the paradise for you because you have 500 or so mayors, few governors, and even a black president. Come on, tell the truth. See, all of this is made to sell you away from your destiny. Now, I'm proud of Brother Barack. I love my brother, but he chose the wrong time in history to be Pharaoh. I'm going there today. He was selected before he was elected. And the people that selected him knew he was one of the most brilliant among us. He had the right looks, the right color, the right lineage, white and black. I think he wouldn't be the Jesse Jackson type or the Al Sharpton type. In other words, he ain't gonna push for what Jesse pushed for, or Sharpton pushed for. He'll be the American president. So you shouldn't look to him to bring you what we can only bring to ourselves with leadership that got both hands in your hands. I'm not against Barack Obama, but I know the time. And I know the wicked forces that are now disappointed in him. See, can I talk real straight? I was going to do it anyway. See, the forces that surround him are not friends. Brother Barack is a constitutional lawyer, brilliant. He came to power at a time when America was in a great economic crisis. Come on, come on. He just followed on the heels of probably the worst president in the history, George W. Bush. George W., a war criminal. Now imagine him talking about Gaddafi killing his own people. Let me introduce you to a killer of his own people. How did you end up in Iraq? In Afghanistan? Because a lie was told that man over there had weapons of mass destruction that he would give to some terrorists, and they were going to come over here. So the stupid Zionist controlled Congress. See, now what I say, I think the brother was talking about, you listen to a man's talk, it don't mean you accept it. But hell, if he's telling the truth, this is a college, isn't it? Are you taught critical thinking? Well, then apply it. And if you apply it to me, apply it to him, apply it to everybody that stand up in front of you, because the world is being deceived by an arch deceiver. All right, I'm almost where I want to be. Are you tired? Oh, this man is a hater. Oh, don't be stupid. You're too intelligent to be stupid. If I were a hater, you could put me in the dustbin of history and leave me there. But what I'm telling you today, you will face it. Tomorrow and today. I want you to reason with me, and then I want you to study what I'm saying. Have you noticed that the Republicans and the Democrats can't agree on nothing? Except when it comes to Israel, and Netanyahu can come over here, you see the leader of the Republican, the leader of the Democrat standing together with Netanyahu. Is that a strange picture? That you can't agree on the welfare of the American people, but you can agree on what is in the best interest of Israel? Talk back to me. Now, I'd like to draw this to a close. Elijah Muhammad, following on the heels of the Honorable Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey knew that our future was not here. Our future was in a land that would be our own. God promised the children of Israel a land of their own. Now, since the earth is the Lord's, well, he can give it, some of it to you, if that's what he desires. Do you think you can build an economic future without land? Come on. Some of you from the deep south, at the turn of the century, our ancestors had millions of acres of land in the south. Today, we hardly have anything left. So through schemes, tax schemes, legal maneuvers, and our hatred for being sharecroppers and getting out of the south and want nothing to do with farming ever again, we let the land go. So they got it now. And here we are learning how to eat better food, but with no land of our own to produce it. Learning about economic development, but not having land as the basis of all economic development. I was on the radio last night with my dear brother Askia Muhammad, and Askia asked me a question. He said, many of our black intellectuals are upset because they want to know why you're putting out a book called The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews that is harming a relationship between us and our allies. No, that's a good question. I don't know whether you ever read The Prince by Machiavelli. I read it years and years and years ago. But Machiavelli said you have to be careful of who you want to coalesce and become allies with. Because if you're not careful and you unite from a position of weakness, then the strength of that which you're allied with will take you over. Now listen to this. I said, listen to me now, please. There is no black millionaire or billionaire who has achieved that wealth without the help of some members of the Jewish community. That's real. There would be no Jay-Z. There would be no Russell Simmons. None of our black entrepreneurs that have become successful could be that without pointing to a Jewish friend. All of our talented people in the 40s and the 50s, they had Jewish manager when they crossed over. They had Jewish agents, Jewish accountants, Jewish record companies. They died broke with nothing to pass on to their children. But their accountants, their agents, the record executives could give their children the best education to keep on building their companies at your and my and our expense. Have you turned on your TV lately and saw the goodies but the oldies, or the oldies but the goodies of all your great performers? How did Time Warner get ownership of everything produced by black people? And when you want to look at what happened in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, your favorite artists, you send your money to Time Warner. The black people that made those records, they may get a little bit, but the bulk of it goes to members of the Jewish community. They're strong. They're powerful. They're wise. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, study the white man. He is successful. They work together in a collective manner. You should do the same. Now let's wait. Now, wait. Let's talk about our allies. Did you know that when the NAACP was created over 100 years ago, the founding fathers of it were mainly Jewish, with E.B. Du Bois and Ralph Bunche and a few others? Did you know that for at least 40 years or more, 50 years, maybe 60 or 70 years, there never was a black president? All the blacks that stood in front of you and me were executive secretaries. Roy Wilkins was the last, I think, great executive secretary. But after that, we had black presidents. See, as Jewish people realized you awakening, and it was really Malcolm X who pointed out that they were the author of the civil rights movement. They were the author of CORE and SNCC and SCLC. Oh, we black folk wanted to see our people free. We wasn't talking integration, we were talking liberty. But when their money got in, they started directing it. See? So we sat in, we crawled in, we waded in, we laid in, we prayed in, we died in, and finally a civil rights law was passed. I want to show you this enemy. While Martin Luther King was sitting in the Oval Office with Lyndon Baines Johnson signing, or watching him sign the legislation, in another part of the government, they were planning his assassination. Martin Luther King was more than I have a dream. Martin Luther King was evolving into a great thinker and leader that we were robbed of. They hated him, but now they can give you thoroughfares. See, they kill your man, then call him, this is Martin Luther King Boulevard. That's very nice. But you would be better with the white man's name on it if you had Martin Luther King's brilliant evolutionary thinking. Now watch this, watch now, watch. Martin Luther King, according to what Harry Belafonte told me, near the end of his time among us, may God be pleased with him, and I'm sure he is. Martin was with his inner circle, and they were very joyous, but Dr. King was very sad. And Harry Belafonte went over to him and said, he said, Martin, why are you so melancholy? And according to Harry Belafonte, Dr. King said, I fear that I'm integrating my people into a burning house. Now wait. He was hoping that maybe we could put the fire out. You could, if it were not started by God. But if the house that is on fire, the fire was ignited by God, then there's nothing any of us can do to put that fire out. Now, it's not a literal fire, but here's the way the fire starts. After 400 years, what will you do when you come? I'm going to raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto Moses. And I'm going to put my words in his mouth. and he will speak unto them all that I shall command him. I want you to listen to me. See, look at Jesus. When you read the Gospels, see, you're reading Jesus giving parables. That's the Jesus of yesterday. But the Jesus that is the actual Messiah, when they asked him, he said, whatsoever the Father bids me to say, that I say. And whatever the Father bids me to do, that I do. If you look in the Quran, the prophet of the Quran is given words to say. And when they say that, you say. See, it's Muhammad that fulfills. Oh, yeah. Wait, I ain't got there yet. Muhammad of 1400 years ago was also a sign of the man like Moses. The Muhammad that comes at the end of the world. Muhammad is Jesus, and Jesus is Muhammad. Now I'm going to prove it. Now you don't have to study. You don't have to study. Jesus of 2,000 years ago was hated by the Jews of that day. Can I get a witness? Yeah. And your Jesus is hated by them too. Listen, just listen. Just listen. Moses had an impediment of speech, so he was coming before God in a state of weakness, asking God, well, I can't go before Pharaoh because I got a problem with speech. Could you give me my brother Aaron? And God said, okay, but who made your mouth? Don't worry about how you speak. I made your mouth. But I'm giving you Aaron, but I'm giving him to you for another purpose. Not out of your weakness, thinking you need him, but out of my love for you and the people, I'm giving you a person that you will be to him as a God. And he will be to you as your prophet to the people. Now look, you're either going to fulfill it, or the Bible and the Quran don't mean nothing. It's not a book for yesterday. It's a book that's being fulfilled right in front of your face. All right, here we go. Here we go. The Quran in the 20th surah says it a little different. Moses is praying for a helper. And he says, oh Allah, grant me a helper, an aider from my family, and remove the knot from my tongue, that they may understand my words and expand for me my breast. See? If you notice, Jesus in the beginning, it was a very narrow assignment. Go ye not in the way of the Samaritans, but go ye to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. This is why I'm in trouble today, because the house of Israel is what you're living in. It represents the entire white race, and you are their children, the children of Israel. Now let's prove it. Whose name do you wear? Is it your father's name or white folks' name? Johnson, Jones, Smith, Brown, Green, Crow, Buzzard, Flea, Fly. See, the white man was named after the creatures of God. You are from God and should wear the names of God. But you got your slave master's name. Who made you a Christian? No. Let's look at it. For 300 years, the Bible was locked against black people. And any one of us that was taught to read would be beaten or killed. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. I meant to wake up your parents. I'm almost where I want to go. Just be patient with me a few more minutes. Dear family, listen. We are like their children, and they treat us like that. You have to beg them for everything you want, like a child asking his parent. Massa, you got a job for me, Massa? Massa, will you let me in your neighborhood, Massa? Will you let me in your school, Massa? See? And they treat you like that. Well, wait a minute. The president ain't like no little child. Stop it. I'm going to show you what they think about you. Here's the president of the United States. He makes a statement about people losing their homes and whatnot, gambling. And then his plane stops in Las Vegas. And the little Jewish mayor wouldn't even come out to greet him. How you gonna greet a nigger president? Yes, I use the word because that's the way they think. You're nothing to them. Nothing to them. Don King, the great boxing impresario, sat at my table. Said he met with the executives of Time Warner, and they told him, "You are a flea, and we are an elephant, and we will crush you." You see many fights now that Don is producing? Look at your giants. Let me talk to you, man. You're going to be the future leaders, but you can't be no punk and lead our people. You got to be a real man or get the hell out the way. Go along to get along, Negro. Afraid to speak up. Afraid to stand up for people that are dying in the street because their leaders are liars and thieves and robbers. That's why Jesus said, all that came before me were thieves and robbers. Suck the life out of you and give you nothing in return. Yeah, I'm talking about it. Our poor people are suffering because our leaders are children who just want a place close to their former slave masters and their children. I'm the first black to be over Merrill Lynch. I'm the first black to be over this. I'm the first. Why don't you be the first black to walk into a free, independent nation under the guidance of God? Why don't you think about building a real nation for yourself and your people? Now I can conclude. Some of you so happy that I'm concluding. Let me tell you, that's why they don't want me in your college. Because you're going to have to think differently now. The brother said we got to change. But change into what? Look, Pharaoh was rich. And the children of Israel were enamored by the wealth of Pharaoh. So Moses prayed that God would destroy the wealth of Pharaoh so that his people wouldn't look to Pharaoh, but look to God, Moses, Aaron, and themselves. Oh boy. Now our brother becomes president. After George Bush killed tens of thousands of Iraqis, shock and awe, on the basis of a lie. You're talking about killing your own people? Sending our soldiers, young, black, brown, and white, to die in Iraq on the basis of a lie. Well, Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And after 9/11, George W. Bush, a few days after it happened, it was these Muslims that did it. Have you really studied what happened? Do you think these little people that learned how to fly a little bit could fly a plane and drop it so many feet at 500 miles an hour and drive it into the World Trade Center, that it was organized by a man in some cave over there? You're a damn fool. And you allowed this enemy to deceive you while this was to their political advantage. Well, I'm speaking like this because I may never get back. The forces are very angry with me, and I understand it. He brings around him all the Wall Street crowd from Goldman Sachs. See, you socializer, you boogie, you party. I know you. You focus a little on your studies, but a lot on the girl you study it. And the open knee rather than the open book. Reefer smoking and acting a fool. We know you. That's why your brothers and sisters say, we got to change. This is a serious world out there that you're going to face. In leaving you, let me tell you what you're going to face. Wall Street helpers of Obama asked him to take out a stimulus package. Well, he's not an economist. He trusted them. Nearly $1 trillion he borrows. Did you get anything? Did small businesses get any loans from the banks? Did the people whose houses are in foreclosure get any help? Did the infrastructure get rebuilt? Oh. What happened to George Bush's stimulus package of nearly $800 billion? You don't even know where that went. Nobody saying nothing. Nobody asking. But all of a sudden, our brother is the guilty party for putting America in debt. See, if you don't study, you cannot defend him. If you don't study, you can't help him. America went into debt starting in 1913. She was only $1 billion in debt in 1913, and in less than 100 years, she's $56 trillion in debt. How did that happen? Did Brother Barack do that? In 1913, some bankers, Jewish and Gentile, met on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia, and they developed what would later become the Federal Reserve Act, which was passed in Congress December the 26th, 1913. And after that, a group of bankers began to control the monetary service of this nation. Oh, they're right around the corner, and where they print the money, and right next door is the Holocaust Museum. Some of you silly ones wonder why. You say, Farrakhan, why are you doing this? You're making it hard for all of us. No. If you don't know Satan, you can't get free from him. Did I say something? See, the book of Thessalonians puts it nice. That day shall not come except there be a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed. Not the spirit of sin, the man of sin. Sin is transgression of the law. And these, they're not really Jews. No. They've hijacked Judaism.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for making this far end of this video, where I do usually make some of the comments about the video we have just watched. So guys, Farrakhan begins with an argument that immediately that demands attention. That is, who actually built America? For centuries, black people were forced to provide labor that helped build farms, that helped build plantations, railroads, industries, cities, and fortunes. But Farrakhan takes that history even further. He argues that black people should not see themselves only as people who suffered. He wants them to see themselves as builders, because they remember black people, they have suffered during from colonizations, guys. So Farrakhan wants them to see themselves as builders. He wants these black people to see themselves as architects, as people whose labor helped create enormous wealth. You know what these people, whites, are enjoying today? This was the sweat of the black people. That is what Louis Farrakhan is trying to communicate. And this is where his message becomes interesting. Because if a community helps build a country, but remains economically disadvantaged generations later, then we have to ask, where did the wealth go? And that question takes us into one of the biggest themes in Farrakhan's speech. That is economic independence, guys. Farrakhan is critical of the idea that the primary goal should simply be integration into existing systems. His argument is that there is a difference between being accepted into someone else's system and having economic power to build your own. Think about it. A community can have millions of people. It can have talented doctors. It can have teachers, lawyers, and entrepreneurs. But if much of its wealth continues to flow outside the community, how much power does that community actually have? That is the question Farrakhan wants people to consider. And this brings us to a story that has played out many times throughout history. A person works hard. They start a business and they employ people. And suddenly their ability to expand depends on institutions that they may not control. This is why Farrakhan speaks or spends so much time talking about financial systems. He references the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913 and uses it as part of a broader argument about who controls money and economic power. Now, guys, some of Farrakhan's specific claims about financial institutions, political leaders, and the different communities are highly controversial and should be examined carefully rather than accepted simply because he says them. But underneath the controversy is a legitimate question. Who controls the flow of capital? Because political freedom without economic power can be limited. You can vote, you can protest, you can speak, but if you don't control business, property, investment, and institutions, your political influence may still have limits, guys. And this is where Farrakhan turns his attention toward black leadership. He questions leaders who, in his view, spends too much time asking for acceptance from the existing establishment. His alternative is self-reliance. Build businesses, build institutions, educate your children. That is the most important thing. And build something that can survive without constantly waiting for someone else to give you permission. Now, whether you agree with Farrakhan's approach or not, there's something powerful about that idea, guys. Because history has repeatedly shown that communities with economic institutions have great ability to protect their interests. Then Farrakhan enters the world of America's politics. You can see he's trying to criticize both Republicans and Democrats, particularly over foreign policy and Americans' relationship with Israel. And when he discusses Barack Obama, his argument becomes even more complicated. Farrakhan suggests that Obama entered a political system that was much larger than any individual's president. His point is essentially this: changing the person at the top doesn't necessarily mean changing the system underneath. And that's an important question to think about, because presidents come and go, political parties change, economic systems remain, power structures can remain also. And that brings us back to Farrakhan's central warning, guys. He believes black people should stop measuring their progress only by how close they are to existing centers of powers. Instead, he wants them to ask, what are we building for ourselves? Where are our businesses? And perhaps that is the most powerful part of the entire message. Guys, you know that you don't have to agree with every statement Farrakhan makes to understand the questions underneath his speech, because ultimately he's asking something that every community can understand. If you don't control the resources that determine your future, how much control do you really have over that future? And maybe that is why he describes his message as a warning, not simply as a warning about politicians, but simply a warning about one political party, but a warning about dependence. Because political powers without economic power can disappear when the political winds change. And if you enjoyed, guys, this video, you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like my video. You can also subscribe if you are new here, and share it. Otherwise, I want to say thank you so much for my subscribers and the viewers for always coming back to watch my videos. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care and God bless you.